Good morning. Just dropping off some people today and borrowed the dinghy to go over to Solonkraka. Seems like the best idea. It's quite chilled out here. Tanya's doing some lovely breakfast today. Oh, it's another beautiful day in Säck here. Can't complain with this, and I always forget to get my sunglasses as always. Always squinting in the sun. Never ceases to amaze me, this place. A lot of helicopters flying around today as well. Well, just one landing and taking off. Hello. Hello, buddies. Hello, doggies. What's going on? Hey, what have you been doing?
Hi everyone. So today we stayed in Säck, or we decided to stay after we looked at different options, but we have a southerly wind now, and it's gonna be into a northern wind during the night and quite strong. So we were looking at different places to go, and then we actually decided, you know what, we're just gonna skip across the bay and stay in Säck. We're just enjoying the day, swimming a lot, paddling, and just hanging out.
Yeah, so like Tanya said, we've literally just moved from over there to over here on sort of the northerly side, really, just to get some protection from tonight's wind. There's going to be like 20 knots of wind at 3 in the morning tonight, so I'm going to try and run a spring across through the different boats and yeah, get safe at least. And it can be tricky sometimes finding an anchorage that's good from both directions. If you have the wind swinging around in the middle of the night, you know, you don't want to be pushed against the rocks in a strong wind. So yeah, it's important to plan that out and find a protected anchorage, preferably from both sides. Benton's found his hot pads on the solar panels on the top of the boat. This exact place actually was the first place we ever went to in the Stockholm archipelago on that Bavaria, actually, Camillus Bavaria. You can be in the video. But yeah, like 9 years later or something like that, we're back again. And a little while after we came here the first time in our little powerboat as well, which was probably a year after or something like that. So 8 years ago on a little powerboat, we were dreaming about having a bigger boat like Aurora here, and you know, turns out dreams do come true, and we got the boat of our dreams, and yeah, we're super happy. Just brings back old memories.
Yeah.
An aluminium boat has come in and is moored like Mediterranean style against the rocks, but he's a bit further away from the rocks, but still they went stern in with the anchor across the anchorage. Nothing wrong with that, just a little unusual to see.
The guys have gone off with all the dogs, and I'm just sitting here enjoying the very, very quiet evening. It's absolutely amazing. It's been a beautiful day. It's been so hot. But now it's just completely quiet. The wind has dropped off completely. So now we're just expecting it to turn during the night and be quite strong in the morning from a northerly direction. But I think we're quite protected where we are. But for now, it's just an amazing, beautiful, beautiful evening.
Okay, tack snälla. Ses på Sandön.
The entrance to Säck is quite narrow, so usually there's not enough room for 2 boats, so one of you may have to stop and just wait for the other one. Also, if you have a boat with a draft of 2.2 or 2.3 meters or more, you may need to be a little bit aware of going through this passage, as the air pressure can make a difference on the actual water level around Stockholm, even though there's no tides. Shortly after, we arrived in Ostholmen again, and I was already beginning to feel the need to do some longer distances and some longer sails, but we had a little adventure lined up. Good news, guys, we've acquired a new dinghy. Well, finally, I've got something interesting to show you today. We're leaving Ostholmen, being as the holiday so far has been basically Ostholmen, Säck, Ostholmen, Säck. So we're going to go on a powerboat trip today. There's a lot of people on this boat. There's probably 12 or 14 people. I haven't counted. But we're just going to go across the channel to Maor and do some shopping and yeah, just have fun basically. We're on Henrik's boat, you know, My Boat and My Life, the YouTube channel. So we're going to see how it's done.
Ja, risken finns. Fiskkatamaranen och Powerboat. Ja, just det.
The daily life of a YouTuber. Stopping and starting cameras. You know, Henrik, I'm a bit lazy. I just use one at the moment. Somebody might have hurt themselves. Can be a bit of a shame. And there's the Sunseeker boat from where I live. It's very busy in here today.
Ja, längst ner i väster. Det ska bli en jordglod där. Det är svårt att träffa den ibland. Då ska det också där. Och så finns det jättemycket plats där.
Henrik here really is a master at docking this boat in close quarters. Although he says it doesn't take that much skill, but to manage 2 engines and twist the boat in such a tight space takes some skill. And I forgot to mention, that includes laying the anchor at the stern also. I'm honestly really impressed by the way that Henrik manages and maneuvers this boat and docks it. It's really, really cool. Here's the man himself.
Put down the camera.
Wait, you're so shy on camera, Henrik. Your English is really good. I don't know why.
It's fun to drive like this.
kan passa. Ja, sitt.
Jag vill ha titta bort
den vill hålla isär båtarna när vi kommer in, det är väl det.
Ja.
Well, back in Ostholmen again. Henrik's going to show us how to dock, but I will stay out the way, I think, you know. Sometimes you can have too many captains on a boat, and the Englishman must just sit and observe. It's too easy, Henrik.
Yes, it's too easy. Everyone can do this. It's nothing.
And we had such a relaxing day hanging out at Ostholmen. I would happily live this day again. So good to hang out with friends, the dogs, the kids, and just chill out.
Are we going for a morning swim? Are we?
Today I want to go sailing.
I
want to sail somewhere.
Alright.
I feel like we're very stale at the moment.
Yeah, we have been. But we also need to use the engine today because we got
Yeah.
no power.
So we're being a bit overzealous with the power situation. And just charging things and using the inverter and using induction and everything like that. And it's really good, but if you're not putting a lot back in with the solar panels or a generator, it's just going to go down. And then to get a 600 amp hour lithium system back up again, it takes a lot of power to come back up. So it's like my previous employer said, you know, it's not about the amount of power you have with lithium. That will just extend the time you need between charges, but it's the balance that you need with the input of power versus output as well. That is my wisdom from the bed this morning.
Thank you. Are we now going for a swim?
No.
So we are heading to a place called Lökaön where we haven't been before. And
Lökaön, I think, or Lökaön.
oh, sorry. There you go, Lökaön. There's supposed to be a quite new bastu. So, and quite new means that it's built 3 or 4 years ago, but because of COVID it's been closed, and because of the summer where we had like a barbecue and open fire ban, then it's been closed. So it's almost brand new, and it's supposed to be a very, very nice bay. As usual, we're the last one of the fleet out of the anchorage, despite the fact that we're the only boat with no kids on. Everybody else manages to get out quite a lot before us. I don't know, maybe we're just slow movers. Well, I know Chris is a slow mover in the morning, but it just seemed to take us a bit of time to get everything sorted, have the dishes done and get on our way. I think the others are just quick, pack everything away and go. But we like the boat to be quite nice and sorted before we leave. But it's going to be interesting to see something new today, and it's nice to move. This is the 3rd time we've been to Ostholmen this summer, and it's the 2nd time within a week, so it's definitely time for a change.
Well, you may have noticed we're motoring today, even though there's a slight breeze out on the water, but we need to charge. And like I said this morning, the reason for that is because we're taking too much out of the batteries and not putting enough back in. So it doesn't matter how big your lithium bank is, if you're not putting the same back in, you're eventually going to hit the bottom, right? So the way I've installed the lithium bank is basically I'm putting all of the power out of the alternator into the lithium batteries. Now, you've got to be careful when you do this with an unregulated alternator, because basically it will get so hot and it will just burn itself out. So I've installed a temperature sensor at the top of the alternator, which tells me where the alternator is, more or less. My rule of thumb on this alternator is if it starts getting above 90 degrees, then I need to increase the RPM so the fan on the alternator goes faster. Need to adjust course a little bit. With this alternator, if I'm doing 1500 RPM for a long time, that's when it's throwing out the most power. It's just come up to that threshold, it's got enough RPM on the alternator, so it's really putting out a lot of power. But the fan isn't moving very fast. So the temperature will climb and climb and climb, and that's a problem. So actually, when we motor, when we're charging batteries for a long time, I need to put the RPM up to about 2000 RPM, so the fan is enough to keep the alternator cool. And I can just show you this on the Victron system down here right now. If I look in the Victron, Now I'm already in the menu there, and I can see the alternator is at 89 degrees at the moment, which is pretty okay. But if it gets anywhere near 100, you know, I'm going to start putting the revs right up to cool it down again. If we go into pages, yeah, we're putting out about 630 watts at the moment, which is not that much, because the alternator is getting fairly warm at the moment. So like I said, there's two ways of doing a lithium charging installation from the engine, and one of the ways is to do a battery to battery charger, but you're going to limit the amount of amps coming out of the alternator basically. Or the other way is do it like I've done it and just do it straight to a what's called a Syrix Live Charge from Victron or something like that, where it regulates the charge and you can get the most out of the alternator. And the problem you might have is heating of the alternator, which you need to regulate in some way. I'll go into more detail of how you can get around that in a later video when I explain everything about the Victron installation, what I've installed. Anyway, back to enjoying the archipelago. The next stop was this beautiful place called Lökaön. Join us next time for the next adventures. Cheers guys, bye now.